Good afternoon. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree? Are you knowing what you are wanting? It moves around a little bit, doesn't it? Does your desire continue to evolve? Life helps that happen, doesn't it? So, were you here yesterday? Do you feel warmed up enough? Okay, we're going to give you the short version warm-up, all right? You were non-physical before you were in this physical body, and you came into this physical body, and you came flat into this non-physical place, and the contrast is time and space, because you know what you don't want, and you know what you do want, so you launch into rocket of desire. They go into the vortex, and when it's in the vortex, then the vortex in your inner being stands there, and your inner being becomes the point of attraction that says all of that. Then your work is to just line up with that, okay? We know you've got that. So let's just get going. What do you want? Begin right here.
So I got to go on the Alaska cruise, which was just a few months ago. And I love how you kind of ended it, or there was a theme. There's always a theme about having fun. And I liked how yesterday you talked about fun was the highest vibration.
Feeling that elation in fun, think about it. There's a feeling of stability. There's a feeling of anticipation. There's a feeling of lightheartedness. And the thing about fun, that it is such a high vibration, is that there's an ease in it. Mm-hmm. A lack of resistance in it.
Right.
Yes.
And a being in the moment, because it's kind of unfolding second by second.
You're responding to the moment. Yes.
So I also loved at the end of the last seminar you said, and I want to replace you guys need to think about alignment with the one who has the most fun, and I may be misquoting it, but the idea was to replace the word alignment with the idea of when you're having the most fun. And he also said that we need more peaks, that we have longer valleys, and we need to have more peaks more often in our fun and enjoying life.
If you trend deliberately to the upper half of the emotional scale, what happens is it becomes your point of attraction, which just continues to perpetuate more of that. Where most people, they know what they don't want and they know what they do want, but they spend more time explaining what it is about what they don't want that they don't want, instead of more time about what it is that they do want that they do want. And so more people spend more time on their way to the higher vibrations than at the higher vibrations. But there's not a good reason for that. The way you feel, your point of attraction, your vibrational habit, a belief is just a thought you keep thinking, and the emotions are just response to the thoughts you keep thinking. So the more you trend in fun and joy and love, then the more you trend in those higher vibrations. And the more you trend in those higher vibrations, then the more of what you want is easily allowed by you. You've already done all the work. Step one, and sifting through the contrast caused you to do all of the asking. And step two has already been taken care of by source and law of attraction, your own inner being. And so your work really is the focus of your focus. If we were standing in your physical shoes, what we would be focusing upon is how we feel. And if you're willing to do that, then you're willing to trend into a place where more of the time you're letting in more of what you want. And that's what allows momentum. And momentum is what allows greater and greater and greater degrees of attraction, amounts of attraction. Prosperity becomes more with that consistency. Happiness becomes more with that consistency. Attraction, allowing. Yeah.
So I took that to heart with the having more fun, and I loved the simplicity of that. And it came up in other people's questions when they were asking about their next career move, and they said, well, I guess the idea was like, we'll have fun and it'll show itself to you. So I decided that this year would be a year of fun. Not that, of course, it won't continue, but I was going to really focus on that idea and having fun. And I also like the idea that if you have fun, that everything else will take care of itself. I don't have to, the
Because
details will work itself
fun
out.
is a state of allowing.
Right.
And everything else is already taken care of because you did step one and Source is doing step two. And if you're having fun, you're doing step three. So everything's in alignment.
So I like that because I think as humans, we just typically, there's a lot of little logistical details that we're used to taking care of.
You say to your teacher, I'm here for fun. Your teacher will say, well, we'll see about that. And then your teacher will torch you as much as possible to make sure that you're not putting too much fun into the equation, because most people don't get it. Most people would rather hear you say, I will strive for determination, and I will focus myself and sacrifice myself into accomplishment. And when you throw fun into that equation, it's too frivolous for them. They don't get it, but it is it. Fun and love and joy and appreciation, those are the emotions that are the strongest indicators of your most allowance.
So with that idea of wanting this year to be packed full of fun, I thought, okay, I want to do something in November or December because I already signed up for the Caribbean cruise, and then I wanted to do a trip, and so I kind of looked at my year and wanted to plan some fun things, and I had this wonderful destination. It was a beautiful city. It met all of my requirements for what I just love and is fun, but I never felt that feeling of just pull the trigger and plan this trip. This was for late November. And so I said, okay, universe, I want to feel that clarity of just pulling the trigger. I trust that there must be a reason why I'm not feeling like I should just pull the trigger. And I knew that the universe would give me an answer. And then the next day I did my meditation, and the answer came, what about the Pacific cruise? And I just thought, I would have never considered it in a million years because I just did the Alaska cruise. That's frivolous. That's crazy. You just went on a cruise. So it wasn't even in my considerations. That it was oh no, in a couple months I'll have some more fun. So I loved how that answered itself. And what if life is supposed to be so good that it's better than we would even allow ourselves to think of? It wasn't even in my consideration set.
We want to talk about this. We really like this theme you've got going here, because it is nice to have an intention about something and to plan for it, to trend toward it, to let the juices flow toward it, and let the cooperative components be gathered about it. That's all really a good way to live, to plan those big events. But when we're talking about alignment or fun, alignment meaning the feeling of an emotion that feels good while you're having it. We're talking about those moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment things.
Sure.
A lot of fun is surprise. And what we would like you to consider is that while it is really a good idea to plan a trip and to get all your ducks in a row as best you can, and to think about it in good feeling terms so that as it unfolds for you, it will be much of that. But there is something really delicious about moment by moment by moment. You know how in television programs or in the arts, they call it situation comedy. Well, we like that, don't you? Fun from the situation. Fun from the cooperative components. Fun that you can't have necessarily on your own with one singular train of thought or one singular perspective. But when you start meshing and merging together with others who are also cooperative components, or even if they're not, your inner being can guide you to the cooperative component part of even the most uncooperative of others. And it's really fun. It's really fun to feel, Esther calls it her magic, and she knows it's not magic, but she likes to own the room, so to speak, vibrationally. She likes to see things respond to the vibrational frequency that she's got going. She likes to see someone change their mind in the middle of a sentence, or someone who was coming at her with something she knew she didn't want get distracted and go someplace else. She likes watching the funnest of the funnest and the excellent of the excellence and the most of the most all coming her way, because she's practicing her trending and she's in control of what comes, and that's fun. It is so fun to get an impulse. It came out of what felt like nowhere. It didn't come out of nowhere. It's been trending. She just, for whatever reason, in her attitude of fun, in her attitude of lightheartedness, which is the best part of what fun is. It's that Esther used to say to Jerry, let's go get a Coke and pretend like we're on vacation. And what she meant by that, she liked that feeling from her former life experiences where it was vacation time, which meant it's not a time of responsibility. It's not a time of doing things for so many others. It's a time of doing what I want to do. Well, this is what we wish for you in all times. We want that to be your attitude because the universe is yielding to you. And when you understand how it all works and you stop feeling guilty when you're having fun instead of sacrificing, and instead you are operating from the upper half of the emotional scale most of the time so that you're trending that way, things get better and better and better so that things that seem sort of inconsequential but aren't begin piling up in lovely ways until there can be just this stream of events that happens where you know you are so blessed. In this last few days, or maybe about 15 days prior to this cruise, four different important to Esther people, not up close to her, but friends, people she really cares about, have had 4 very consequential experiences. And they're the kind of experiences that when a good friend that you know is involved in them, you take it seriously and it can bring you down, 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 maybe even to a point of despair. But when you've been trending and rocking and rolling and feeling good and having fun, then as you interface with people that care about you and that you care about, and they're having something like that going on, you can focus without losing your place. And then clarity about what to do next occurs to you so that you're right on point. You talked about pulling the trigger. You don't want to pull the trigger just because it's time to pull the trigger, so to speak. And maybe that's not the best analogy in the world, but we all know what we're talking about. That point in time when you make the decision that this is a decided thing. Esther's been making great big decisions, the kind of decisions that most people would think that you should contemplate over a long period of time, and it will occur to her and she will know now is the time for this. And if she talks to some of the people that are up close to her that want her to be a reasonable person, she just explains to them, you should be way past expecting that from me. Because reasonable usually means considering the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses, which means shoot the good trend in the foot, which means kill the momentum. When you're weighing the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses, you're slowing your momentum way, way down. And the fun factor is going out the window. But when you get tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and fun is something that is a very strong intention, and you can find it almost everywhere you go. There is something fun in every moment. Esther knows for sure that if there were a camera on her all the time, that they would have locked her up a long time ago because she has so much fun with herself on her own at things that are just funny. And she talks about it right out loud. That's really funny, she'll say. Now, I like that. I got that. And she's talking to all of the non-physical friends who she has, who she knows are setting up endless things to surprise and delight her. Endless things to surprise and delight her. Now, maybe that's crazy. In human standards, it's certainly not normal. It is just not normal to be enjoying life so much all the time in the middle of a damn panic.
Right.
Yeah.
I've noticed that I'm being guided around my resistance every time something like this unfolds for me. And I trust and I love knowing that it's okay to have resistance because my inner being is going to guide me around. Like you already said no to the Pacific Coast cruise, but I'm just going to remind you now because I asked, and so I'm loving this new theme and I want it to be oversimplified in the sense that I love to learn that we don't need to be in problem-solving mode because then we're taken out of the moment.
This is really good. You have said something which is eliciting something from us that we've never said before. Problem solving. Those words don't go together because the problem and the solution are 2 entirely different vibrations. That's what's been wrong with that all along.